Pocketalk Radio. You're in to all things music.
May the best brand win with Scott Robertson's Music Biz Marketing Strategies. Now, here's your host, Scott Robertson.
Hey, everybody. Happy Friday. You are tuned to May the Best Brand Win on Intertalk Media, the undisputed leader in music biz talk. I am Scott, your host, and a man who definitely is going to name his next band Toxic Masculinity. You heard it here first, folks. Don't try to steal the URL. I already own it. And with me in the booth is Paul B., who exudes toxic masculinity and on a regular basis. What's up, Paul B?
What's up? That's a good name. I like it. Damn, I wish I
It'd be great, wouldn't it?
It first. Can I play bass? Oh no, you're a bass player. I'll play drums. I'll play something, guitar, whatever.
There you go. Toxic masculinity. All the songs are about toxic masculinity, really. I mean, you know, we're going to talk about the Gillette situation and toxic masculinity a little bit later in the show.
Oh yeah, I saw that yesterday. I was wondering what your take on that's going to be.
That should be fun. We'll talk about that. You know, just starting off and saying, you know, masculinity can be toxic, but like, you know, so can femininity, right? I mean, like, I've worked in offices that are all women, and you know, it's like Roman times, man. I mean, there's like, you know, people whipping out swords and lopping people's heads off in the hallway. I mean, got to say, I've noticed that firsthand.
There's lots of toxicity to go around.
Maybe toxic humanity would be a better way to balance.
That's a good band name too.
That's a good band name too. I don't have that URL. I own Toxic Masculinity, but
I can take that, and then
there you go.
A couple of years down the road, we can form a super group.
You're like, you got to have the URL first. It's very, very important.
Yeah.
Oh man. Well, it's good to have you back, Paul. How are things going? You ready for the NAMM show next week?
We're getting ready.
Nice.
I don't think you're ever ready. Just at some point, you just shove everything in your car and just go and hope for the best.
That's a good way to say it. Yeah. I'm excited about it. You know, coming out of CES, you know, it's great, but you know, there's nothing like the NAMM show. It's so fun. It's so fun to see lots of people. I'm going to be doing some interviews, kind of man on the street interviews, that I'll play back for a couple episodes of this show coming up in February. So stay tuned for that. That should be fun.
And you're going to be doing one with us on Caffeine, correct?
Yeah. I'll do something with you.
With Ming, possibly.
Oh, yeah. You know what? That's right. We're going to have one of my clients, BandLab Technologies. We're going to come over and we're going to talk on Caffeine, and we're going to show some of the new products. Boy, BandLab's got a lot of stuff at the show. Man, just going through everything. That's if you are going to the NAMM show, just a plug for one of my clients, you definitely want to come down to booth 6602 and check out everything that BandLab's got going on. It's going to be a real exciting show for them, certainly. It'll be fun.
Very cool.
Well, cool. Well, I am a public relations and marketing communications consultant that runs a company called Robertson Communications. There you go. If you want to reach me, here's how. Send me an email to scott@robertsoncom, 2M's like communication.com, or my website, robertsoncom2mslikeCommunication.com, or in any number of social places on Twitter @robertsoncom or facebook.com/robertsoncom. We're all over that place. What can I tell you? And I call this show, this is episode 110 of The Big Show, and we call it CE Hell Yes, because last week was episode 109, we called it CES. Now it's Hell Yes, because when one show isn't enough to cram in all of the juicy interviews from the show floor, you got to do two shows, you know? And I figured I was going to have to do that. I had so much good stuff. So anyway, this one, we're going to have interviews with Audio Technica, a company called The Rocking Bed, a company called Sperm Tests, the Pocketalk Translator that you've heard so much about, Autel Drones. I mean, something for everybody, really. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have a good time today, and looking forward to that. So without further ado, we'll play our first interview. I believe it's with Audio Technica, and they talked about what they're doing over at CES this year. So here comes Audio Technica. Hey, it's Scott, and I'm here with Gary Boss from Audio Technica. So, Gary, we're here at CES. What are you guys showing this year? What's new?
Well, as Audio Technica is a pretty old brand from the 60s, And we're a transducer company, so we cut our teeth kind of on headphones and microphones and phonograph cartridges. That's pretty much our core competency, so that's what we stick with. But now we're bringing that into kind of the new millennia. We have a Bluetooth turntable now, so one of the things we're seeing is kind of new people are starting to collect vinyl as almost a memento. It's a tactile representation of the things they like.
True, yeah.
And so what we were finding is people actually had vinyl, but they didn't even have turntables. So turntable trend continues to grow. We continue to provide kind of solutions that maybe are not so much what we would traditionally know for turntables. Before you plug it into your receiver and have it through your speakers and sit down and listen. People don't really work that way anymore. So again, now we have a Bluetooth version. I can hook it up to my Bluetooth speaker. I have just launched a new model that has a headphone amplifier, so now I don't need any external devices. I plug my headphones, listen to my vinyl right there, and we started to go a little more upscale. So now as these people have cut their teeth on vinyl, they're ready to move up. So we have new solutions for them there.
Nice. And you're one of these brands that kind of, you're kind of on the fence between the MI space and the consumer electronics space. You guys are big in the NAM world. You're big in the MI world. So what's that like for you guys to do? To have those kind of different audiences, or do they overlap for you?
Well, that's the other thing that we're finding. So a perfect case scenario is we had a product called the ATH M50X headphone. It was made for recording studios. So we had that in every major recording studio. It became very popular. It began to get adopted by consumers. So people were realizing, because it's on Amazon now, they don't know the difference between pro and consumer. It started to get a cult following of audiophiles. So they're like, oh, I can buy the same headphones that these people mix the music on, and now I can listen to it on that headphone?
Yeah.
So the one thing that we didn't have in the pro audio space is Bluetooth. Bluetooth is pretty much verboten in pro audio. You got latency, you got sound quality compromises. Sure. So we've actually taken those M50X and we've replicated that audio quality in a Bluetooth version. So now we have a product specifically targeted towards consumers with the feature set that they demand, rather than compromising with the wired product they were buying. So that's a place where that kind of crossed over. We're also finding in the content creation world that whole professional microphone, streamer content, podcast microphone now is getting very muddy.
True.
So that's another area where we kind of balance both the channels, our audience, our messaging, to kind of get that mix right. So we're talking to the right people in the right spots, in the right voice.
Nice. Are you doing a lot more with influencers this year?
We've always done a lot with influencers, so we have a pretty good relationship with a lot of folks. We have a few key streamers that are kind of in our pocket that we work with. Yeah. And then we've also, once again, renewed our focus on the gaming world. So we'll be at PAX East, PAX West again this year. So E3 is more of a trade thing. We're trying to go direct to consumer. Okay. So we go right where they are and talk to them at those shows.
You know, they're selling badges to E3 now and letting tons of consumers in there.
Yeah.
So you know.
We got, it's a manpower thing.
Yeah.
We do a lot of shows.
I hear you.
So yeah, I'll be doing this show and home for a week and then back at NAM. Then home and then back at PAX East. So
very good. Well, we'll see you out there, Gary. This has been Scott. We're talking to Gary Boss from Audio Technica. Thanks very much for spending time with us today.
No problem. Thanks for stopping by.
Thanks. Awesome. So that was Audio Technica, and they talked about a lot of challenges they're having, with some different audiences. One of the things that Audio Technica is certainly one of the premier brands in the in the MI space as well, and they do a good job. That's a company that knows who they are, that knows how to tie back into. You don't ever see them do anything too weird or too out there that's off message for them. So definitely a brand to watch and emulate a bit. The next one's kind of weird. I found this bed that rocks like a bed does on a boat in it, like after you take a cruise. And I really liked what the founder had to say about that. So this is the rocking bed. Check it out. Hey, it's Scott with May the Best Brand Win on Intertalk Radio, and I'm here with Mark from rockingbed.com here at CES. Mark, what's Rocking Bed all about?
So the very fast story is my wife and I went on a cruise in 2004. The bed was moving because the boat was moving, and when we got done with the cruise, I wanted a bed that moved back and forth, so we invented it and named it rockingbed.com.
Nice. And is this your first show? How old's the company?
So last year was our first show, but we weren't taking orders. We took pre-orders. We fulfilled this last year. We're shipping actually next week, those pre-orders, and we're taking orders right now on the website. Nice.
And how are you getting the word out about another bed, but a very different kind of bed?
That's a good question. Right now, we're not doing a lot of push marketing. We got a little bit of SEO for the term rocking bed, obviously. That's why we got the name. And no, we just have orders coming in from people who have thought about the concept. So it's really pull, I guess. Is that what you call that? Pull marketing?
Sure. And but they're hearing about it. Is it word of mouth? Are you? How are they hearing about it?
They're just searching. It's such a unique niche. So, like, people who want a bed to move, they're searching, like, terms like rocking bed or bed that feels like a boat, maybe. You know, that feel like I was on a boat, cruise ship feel, stuff like that, those keywords.
Oh, interesting. You ever think about partnering with the cruise lines about, like, keep your cruise going or something?
I definitely have. Anybody knows Princess or Carnival, send them over. Yeah.
Yeah, that could be a great power partner for you because, they talk about that sensation, and then you kind of keep that sensation going,
Yep. Effectively, they have 5,000 people on every single cruise ship experiencing my product for real. Even though they're not experiencing it, they're feeling something that is what inspired it.
That's really cool. And does it rock all the time, or does it turn off?
Yeah, so there's a timer built in. At the end of the 30 minutes, you don't need to run the machinery all night long. Once you're asleep, you're asleep. It facilitates. There was a study done in Switzerland by a couple of professors that effectively showed that you get to sleep faster. So at 30 minutes, it cuts off, it shuts down, it locks down, so it doesn't move. That's important. You don't want a rocking bed to rock when you don't want it to rock. So it becomes a normal bed. Yep.
What else? What else marketing-wise? I mean, you're here at CES. Do you do any other shows, or just CES?
Yeah, we've just done CES. We did a couple in Atlanta when we were first running our very first prototypes. But then we brought it out here because guys like yourself are out here. There's a lot of press coverage. And, we're at the stage where we're looking for investors. And this is a place, obviously, at Eureka Park to find them.
Very nice. And your tagline, "Sleep Like a Baby Again," you and your wife came up with that?
I came up with that. I like it. Yeah. Every single one of us has been rocked to sleep. You, me, every one of your listeners, everyone has been rocked to sleep when we were babies. So that's the idea.
I like it. It's a personal tagline. A lot of taglines, it's hard to find yourself in them. This is all about you. I think it's a really good tagline for that reason.
I appreciate that.
Well, thanks very much, Mark, for spending some time with me on May the Best Brand Win. And if you guys want to check out Rocking Bed, just rockingbed.com, I'm guessing.
That's it.
All right, great. Thanks a lot, Mark. Appreciate it.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, there you have it. There's the folks from Rocking Bed right at CES. A couple of things to note about that. Obviously, just a cool idea. I mean, some of these startup companies, are just a product that somebody has an idea, that something that they want personally for themselves. They end up building it. They end up, investing some time, and trying to kind of build a tribe around that. And, obviously having a lot of success doing it. So anyway, wishing a lot of success to Rocking Bed moving forward. The next one is interesting. It's a sperm test that you can kind of take it home yourself. So we're not going to have time for the whole thing because we only got a few minutes in this segment, but we'll do a little bit of this one and then we'll come back and finish it up. We'll end prematurely and then we'll come back. Here we go. Sperm test. Hey, it's Scott, and I am here with Eric Carver from Yo Sperm Test here at CES, and Eric's going to tell us all about it. Eric, what do you got? What's Yo?
Yo is a semen analysis test that you can take at home privately. So it's a first step instead of having to go right to the doctor, collect in a room, wait around for the results. It allows you to actually see your sperm. It'll tell you if it's good or bad based on modal sperm concentration. So there's a few tests on the market that are telling people how many sperm they have above or below a cutoff, but we're telling them about how many modal sperm, much more important for achieving a pregnancy.
Interesting.
Yeah, so it's also going to give you a ranking of how your modal sperm stack up against other men who have fathered children. So you may be normal, you may be over the cutoff, but we're also going to tell you, are you in range with 20% of men who have fathered a child, or up there in the 80s and 90s with much more potential to achieve a pregnancy? All this is happening in about 10 minutes in the privacy of your home. It's $60 for 2 tests, and you get to save a video of your results for personal reference or to share with a physician.
That's really cool. And how old's the company?
So the company's been around since 1993. Our core product is actually a commercial grade analyzer.
Oh, right. Yeah, I can see it.
About 40% of laboratories in the U.S. already use our solution. So we're actually the global standard in automated semen analysis. The Yo Sperm Test took that technology and is actually now bringing it directly to the consumer so they can learn more about it, they can check their fertility at home, and it's a good first step before meeting with your doctor, just to be armed with a video of your sample to have your, some information about your particular issue.
Cool. Have you guys found it challenging shifting to the consumer messaging after being the industry standard for doctors' offices, for so long, and now taking on this new audience, with the consumer? What challenges have you found there?
Absolutely. What we find is that a lot of folks just don't know about sperm quality, semen analysis. In our core business, of course, the people we deal with are laboratory technicians. They all know, full well what semen analysis is and why our solution makes sense. On the personal side, some of our job is to first educate before we provide the solution, and also clarifying for people what it means to test your moving sperm. So it doesn't matter if you have 100 million sperm if you don't have if they're all dead, if you don't have any moving ones. So kind of getting people to understand that concept and why it makes sense to screen yourself for your potential fertility. That's all been a challenge for sure.
Let's stop right there. Very cool. So we're going to come back and talk a little bit more with Yo Sperm Tests after we do winning and losing in segment 2. So come back for segment 3. Right now, you're tuned to May the Best Brand Win on Intertalk Media, the undisputed leader in music biz talk. Come on back. We're going to talk about who's winning and losing. Yeah, we're going to talk about Gillette. Good God. Here we go.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
This is Jackie Bertoni from Jackie's Groove. Come join me weekly on my journey through the music business as I take you behind the velvet rope, interviewing industry notables such as Al Di Meola, Michael McDonald, and Al Jarreau, to name but a few. Listen to their stories on being in the studios recording #1 hits and onto the stages throughout the globe. Allow me to be your music historian. You can hear me live every Monday at 2 p.m. and every Wednesday at 12 noon Pacific Standard Time or 24/7 on jackiesgroove.com. Ready to get your groove on?
Hi, I'm Tim Dolbear, the host of Sound Experience on Intertalk Radio. Each week, I talk with top professional audio engineers, producers, musicians, and the manufacturers that make the tools that we use in the studio each and every day. From capturing the perfect take to mastering your final release, and the tools and how the pros use them, we are going to dive deep into their process and learn from their experience. I look forward to you joining us each week on Sound Experience with me, your host, Tim Dolbear.
Make this your vinyl night. I'm John J.R. Robinson, and every week, music creation comes alive through stories, experiences, and sounds when vinyl records filled our hearts and minds. My friends and I share our tips and techniques used in creation of iconic tracks for recording artists such as Michael Jackson, Eric Clapton, Quincy Jones, and Steve Winwood, to name a few. Vinyl has emerged hot, and the soul of vinyl defines art and passion which burns deepest at night. Tune in every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on EnterTalkRadio.com.
May the best brand win with Scott Robertson's Music Biz Marketing Strategies. Now, here's your host, Scott Robertson.
Hey, everybody. It is Friday, and you are tuned to May the Best Brand Win on EnterTalk Media, the undisputed leader in music biz talk. I am Scott, your host. We've been talking about more CES stuff. We had to end the Yo Sperm Test segment prematurely. We apologize for that. That was unintended. And we're going to come back.
It's all right, Scott. It happens. It happens to a lot of guys.
It happens to a lot of guys that host radio shows. But we are going to come back, and we're going to hit that segment. It's very it's going to be very important. Paul, did you like that segment? Were you enjoying that?
Yeah. All that talk of rocking beds are making me want to get into a rocking bed and go to sleep.
It's really pretty cool, man. You should check it out. It's really I got onto it. It's funky. It's cool. Well, cool. Let's dig into, man, there's just so much to talk about this week. Gosh, it just writes itself, doesn't it? We're in segment 2 of the big show, and this is where we talk about who's winning and losing. And leading the charge is our friends over at Procter & Gamble, specifically Gillette, who came out with a new ad this week. Basically like a 2-minute film titled "We Believe the Best Men Can Be." Now, this ad has generated quite a bit of reaction. For them, kind of both positive and negative. And I've been asked multiple times, what is my feeling on what Gillette did. It's not going to be crazily different than what I said when Nike did the thing with Colin Kaepernick. I think that anytime you're in the marketing department and you make choices that draw negative attention to your company, I just don't know how you look at that as a success. Now, I realize that P.T. Barnum said all press is good press as long as you spell my name right. But, the world has changed a lot. First of all, people don't wear as many hats as they did, when P.T. Barnum was around. And secondly, the world has completely changed since that statement. And yeah, and I realize, his contributions to the field of public relations and that. But there isn't a person in public relations that intentionally goes out there and tries to stir up crap to get, negative attention to the brand. Now, why don't you do that? Because remember, there's always one strategy when you're marketing communications, and marketers never like to talk about this, but it's always there. And that is, what if we did nothing? What if we didn't do this? What if we did nothing? Where does it, upside, downside, right? What if you didn't do it? And how does this net out? Because if you have people, after the Colin Kaepernick thing, you have people burning Nike products. You go, I'll never tell Nike again. You have pundits, talking about how you're jerks and you have, and that kind of stuff. And if you're in marketing, you are paid to avoid these situations. You're not supposed to steer the ship into this, dumbass. You're supposed to steer it away from this. That's your job, right? And they say, we're going to make a lot of gains with millennials. They have left you already. The millennials have left the Gillette brand, kids, because it's too expensive. They're with Harry's. They're with Dollar Shave Club. I mean, know your market segment. I don't even work in that market segment. I know that, So it's like, to me, two levels. Don't intentionally draw controversy to your brand. Yeah, they got so much attention. Everybody's talking about it. Nobody's talking about it in a good way. Very few people are talking about it in a good way. I've seen the negative press has been probably 3-1. And if you did nothing, if Gillette was just quiet this week, they probably net out with a better brand reputation than if they took this step. And this is where you have to be a strategist. You have to understand the fact that if you did nothing, you probably have a better brand reputation than if you did this at all. And, because you don't want people throwing your product away. You don't want people organizing boycotts against you. You don't want people, I'll never buy Gillette again, and Gillette sucks. And you don't want all these pundits saying Gillette's abandoned American men. I mean, why would you do that? Why would you do that? When you could just talk about your stinking stupid product and not be about that. There's no win here for you. That's my point is there's no win here for you, and when you do things that intentionally set your brand out to lose. I know you're Procter & Gamble and invented branding and all those kind of things, but this is a really bad, really dumb, really not thought out well campaign, in my opinion, because there's no win for you. You have, at some point, you have to be able to stand in front of a senior management and go, this is what we got. This is the win. This is the win. What is your win? People throwing your product away? You know how many people threw your product away last week? 0. You know how many threw your product away this week? A lot. You know how many people said you were idiots this week? A lot. You know how many people said you were idiots last week? 0. Anybody else know how to do math out there? I'm just checking. I just want to make sure. When you see the zeros add up, right, then you realize that there's no way this campaign could be a win. There's just no way. And then just to talk about what they did, right? They took a stand on an issue and basically said, "Is this the best a man can get?" And then had these images of men, basically saying that bullying and sexual harassment and all the Me Too stuff is the fault of men with this what they call toxic masculinity. What a bunch of crap. Let me let you in on a little biological and neurological secret. Some people in this world are just a-holes. They are just a-holes, okay? And it's like there are men, there are women, and that's just life, right? But the minute that you start characterizing, an entire gender of people and basically saying, well, you guys should all be sorry and you should all really look at your behavior, it makes all the people who didn't commit any crimes go, what the hell's the matter with you? That's just a few of us, Oh, well, men need to police each other and this kind of thing. And then I've had plenty of, friends that are female said there's way more toxic femininity out there than there is toxic masculinity. And as I said in the beginning of the show, we can all be toxic. The definition of sexism is when you take an entire gender of people and you assign a characteristic to them and said, they are all pigs. They all suck. They all do this, right? That's the definition of sexism. This campaign is exactly that. It basically says, hey, I made a joke on LinkedIn. I said, I think they should change the tagline to the absolute sorriest a man can get. It's like, and again, if you're a misogynistic man out there, and you're probably not, by the way, you're not in this day and age, you're not, then it's like, then I guess this could be possibly for you, but for the majority of men who are just kind of living our lives and not really, it's confusing. We're all like, wait a minute, are we all bad? Do we have something built into us? Is there something wrong with our our genes and our genetics? Is there something wrong? The campaign is so overreaching, so incredibly tone deaf and stupid and over dramatic, about an issue that really can be handled by just, it really it's going to be handled when the older generation of men die off, flat out. I'll just lay it to you right there. The people, who are most guilty of sexual harassment are old dudes. All of us that came up in the 80s and stuff, we didn't have any of that. I was raised by a single mother. I don't even hug women, in the office. So it's just like, it's overreaching. Like I said, it's tone deaf and altogether just really dumb. And anytime, and again, my number one thing would be just like the Colin Kaepernick thing. If you're in the marketing department and you come up with a brilliant idea that draws negative fire to the company, you should be fired. You should be fired because you are not doing your job. You are bringing negative attention to the brand which unchecked could destroy the brand. And as it turns out, your job is the exact opposite of that. You are supposed to build relationships with people, not destroy them. Oh, well, look at all the people that said we were positive. Look at all the people who said you were negative. And if you did nothing, they're all zeros still, right? In this case, doing nothing wins every single time to doing this. So anyway, losing in a big way. That's my feeling on the whole subject. But you know who's winning? Podcasts. Check this out from PodTrack. The industry wrapped up year-over-year growth of 56% increase in total global downloads for the top 10 publishers tracked by PodTrack. This is what a massive increase. People are listening to more and more podcasts like this one. PodTrack said iHeartRadio held onto its slot as the biggest commercial broadcaster with 13 million unique U.S. listeners. Of course, May the Best Brand win was second with 12.9 million unique U.S. listeners. You know, we're right there. We're right in there with iHeartRadio. Very exciting. Very, very, very exciting. And it's exciting to see podcasting up 56%. Very, very, very cool. Let's shift gears and talk about Facebook. Man, if there was a company that stepped in it more than Facebook, I doubt I could name them. Maybe Chipotle, you know. But so Pew Research, which does a lot of research, and 74% of respondents in a recent survey didn't know Facebook collected their interests to target ads until Pew asked them about it. So Facebook keeps a running list of things it's learned about you and then serves up ads about your interests to advertisers or sorts of ads to you from advertisers. And this list is not incredibly hard to find. You go to your account settings, you click on ads, your list will appear. You can kind of peruse it, modify it as you see fit, enjoy. But, I mean, don't you find that a little bit fascinating that people are on this social network of Facebook and yet they have no idea the data that this company is collecting on you and how they are monetizing and using this data to target you, you know? And then, we didn't even know they did that. You know, I mean, geez, it takes buyer beware to a different place. But moving on to another story about Facebook. So Facebook has this 10-year challenge meme. Now, a lot of people in tech have come out and said that this 10-year challenge meme, they want to show your decade-old photos and that kind of thing. But people have pointed out that if you were training a facial recognition program on age-related traits, the key pieces of data that you would need to do that would be a large data set taken at fixed number of years apart. So thanks to the meme, there's a large data set of carefully curated photos of people from 10 years ago and now. So someone could get a hold of that database, and let's just say maybe not even Facebook because their security is questionable. It is could be used to train a facial recognition algorithm. Imagine a lot of the companies that would love to get their hands on a facial recognition algorithm that could positively identify hundreds and millions of people. Fascinating stuff. Of course, Instagram and Twitter have yet responded for a request to comment from Fox News on this story, and nobody's really commented on this. But it hasn't been a great week for news for Facebook because their policies of collecting data on you and then using it to serve up ads was outed by Pew. And then this user-generated meme, this 10-year challenge thing, is now called into question by leading technologists who say, well, this database is extraordinarily dangerous to have in the hands of Facebook because they can't be trusted, you know. And I mean, I could do an entire show on the reasons why Facebook can't be trusted, but, you know, we're all there. So a lot of losing for Facebook this week, got to say. You know who's winning is MasterCard. We're all winning because MasterCard is not going to let companies automatically bill you after free trials. And, you know, we've all made the mistake of starting a free trial somewhere and then forgetting to cancel it before the billing period kicks in. Well, MasterCard's now going to protect you against this. They announced a new policy that will require merchants to get authorization from you before hitting you with recurring charges for subscriptions. Finally, thank you. And it will require companies to provide you with monthly updates with pricing and clear instructions of how to cancel if you need it. This is so necessary because of, you know, marketers out there that make it very difficult for you to get out of things. I mean, there's, and so I say massive winning for MasterCard to be able to do this. And if you're a marketer out there and you have free trials, then you need to be aware of how MasterCard is going to do this. You can expect Visa and American Express to be right on the heels of this. This will be publicly praised, and you can bet your sweet butt that every single credit card company will be announcing its own very similar policy to this, in the coming days. So anyway, got to say, I love emergent science. I love good emergent science, and you're going to love this story. Chocolate is better for your cough than cough syrup, according to a study. A research group from a university in England randomly prescribed more than 160 patients either regular cough medicine or chocolate-based medicine. Patients on the chocolate-based medication, actually it's just chocolate, cocoa, reported improving more quickly than those on regular cough syrup. The authors recommended sucking on a piece of chocolate to help relieve cough symptoms. Now, if you think that marketers out there like Hershey's and the rest of those people are paying attention and they're going to start marketing their product as a cure-all for colds, then you're right. That's exactly what's about to happen. And plus, doesn't it just awaken your curiosity? Like, you almost kind of wish, you're like, man, I wish I had a little bit of a cold so I could try that, right? Next time, because you wouldn't just normally think of that, right? But the next time that you start to get a cough, try, eating some chocolate, sucking on some chocolate, that kind of thing, and then just kind of maybe log your results and see what you say. Even if this story isn't true, I would love for this story to be true, and therefore it is true to me. That kind of thing. That's how people work, by the way. We just sort of filter out stuff that we don't care wants to be true. And one more, Netflix is raising prices for its for 56 million United States subscribers. It's raising its prices by 13% to 18%. Its biggest increase since the company launched its streaming service 12 years ago. They've drawn a lot of fire for that. They're producing a lot more shows, right? And it's more expensive than just, obviously being a studio is expensive and that kind of thing. And, depending on the quality of the shows and that kind of thing, we'll see if they, have people bailing out of them. Let's see, they had nearly 75 million subscribers outside of the U.S. as of September. Oh, man, I can remember a time when Netflix was just DVDs, right? And now they're this, rebounded and become this bigger powerhouse. Well, that's all we got for winning and losing this week, but you are tuned to May the Best Brand Win on Intertalk Media, the undisputed leader in music biz talk. Come on back. We're going to finish up with our CES interviews.
I'm Tim Dolbear, the host of Sound Experience on Intertalk Radio. Each week, I talk with top professional audio engineers, producers, musicians, and the manufacturers that make the tools that we use in the studio each and every day. From capturing the perfect take to mastering your final release, and the tools and how the pros use them, we are going to dive deep into their process and learn from their experience. I look forward to you joining us each week on Sound Experience with me, your host, Tim Dolbear.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
Make this your vinyl night. I'm John J.R. Robinson, and every week, music creation comes alive through stories, experiences, and sounds when vinyl records filled our hearts and minds. My friends and I share our tips and techniques used in creation of iconic tracks for recording artists such as Michael Jackson, Eric Clapton, Quincy Jones, and Steve Winwood, to name a few. Vinyl has emerged hot, and the soul of vinyl defines art and passion which burns deepest at night. Tune in every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on InterTalkRadio.com.
This is Jackie Bertoni from Jackie's Groove. Come join me weekly on my journey through the music business as I take you behind the velvet rope, interviewing industry notables such as Al Di Meola, Michael McDonald, and Al Jarreau, to name but a few. Listen to their stories on being in the studios recording #1 hits and onto the stages throughout the globe. Allow me to be your music historian. You can hear me live every Monday at 2 p.m. and every Wednesday at 12 noon Pacific Standard Time or 24/7 on jackiesgroove.com. Ready to get your groove on?
May the best brand win with Scott Robertson's Music Biz Marketing Strategies. Now, here's your host, Scott Robertson.
Hey, everybody. Happy Friday. You are tuned to May the Best Brand Win on Intertalk Media, the undisputed leader in music biz talk. I am Scott, your host. Been here talking about CES. We just did winning and losing. I went off on a big rant about Gillette. Paul, what do you like this week?
I like your Gillette rant. I should have expected as much.
Exactly.
I really like the MasterCard thing. That's really useful.
Smart, super smart.
Very smart.
Yeah. Very, very smart and exactly what, marketing's about listening, right? So they just listen to what people are complaining about, and then they make it's going to be good for it's going to be good for them. It's going to bring a lot of positivity, and probably a lot of people that didn't think about paying things with MasterCard, because you have Visa or American Express or whatever. You'd be like, hey, I'll pay if I pay with MasterCard, then I don't have these stupid free trial things.
Yep. Yep.
Nice. I like it. Well, cool. Well, on the show, we're finishing up with some CES interviews, and before we prematurely ended the segment we were talking to Sperm Tests. So let's finish. Let's pick up where we left off, if we can. Very cool. And what's the marketing mix look like for the consumer product?
So far, the commercial grade is still our core business. So I would say, we're split 50-50 right now on resources that we're devoting to the Yo consumer division. And we already have nice momentum with our core product. It's very stable. We're selling plenty of them, and we have a huge user base that buys supplies in order to do the laboratory grade testing. So it allows us to really focus and invest our time and energy on the home solution.
Very cool. So are you doing any, are you working with any influencers or doing any public relations on this with the media? Yeah. Obviously CES is a part of that.
Sure. I mean, that's why we're here. We walked the floor last year when we had just released the product. We were really impressed with CES, the amount of people here, where people come from, all the different industries. So this year we invested in a booth, and we're really happy to be here. It's been amazing meeting all different kind of people. Everybody from suppliers that can help you out with designing your own technology to end users, just men walking by that have nothing to do with our particular industry, but they're interested in just taking a test for themselves. And then obviously you're meeting with distributors that want to sell your product, media folks like yourself that want to see something new, something interesting to share with their audience. All that.
Very cool, very cool. Well, thanks for spending a couple minutes with me. I appreciate it, Eric.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Nice. Well, that was Sperm Tests, and a really interesting company. And as I was mentioning to Paul on the break, I saw a lot of things having to do with genetics and DNA and at home tests and those kind of things. Really kind of permeated the whole thing of CES this year. It was kind of interesting. This next one is really cool. It got a lot of press out of CES. It's a really cool little handheld pocket translator that I thought was really, really neat. And so I spent a little time talking with them specifically about marketing and also about the product. So this is the Pocketalk Translator. Here we go. Hey, this is Scott with May the Best Brand Win. I'm here with Joji from Source Next, and they've got a great little pocket translator that they've come out of the market with called Pocketalk, and he's going to tell us all about it right here. So, Joji at CES here, tell me all about Pocketalk.
Sure. Pocketalk is the translation device that we start to sell in the U.S. From October. It's a two-way translations, and it could translate over 74 languages. Yeah. So basically, how the device works is that you pick the two languages, and in each side you have two buttons, and in if I select, for example, English to Spanish, and if I press the button of English side, and then whatever that you say in English, the voice will translate to Spanish, and then Spanish will come out from the device.
And it speaks.
Yeah.
That's really cool. So, how old's the product?
A product itself is this version was introduced in Japan from last year September. So you're talking about, I don't know, like a couple months, right? A few months.
It's making its United States debut here at the show.
Yes. So we already have launched this one in October, and then this is our first CES after the show. Yeah.
First time for people really to kind of put their hands on it since you launched. Fantastic. Now let's talk about marketing Pocketalk for a second. So, who's your customer, and how are you reaching them?
Right. So this is from a marketing point of view, that we always have success story that it's doing very well in Japan. So we kind of use that as a base data of who will be our target to market this product. And then so far from results of Japan point of view, it's really a traveler, and from the age perspective, it's more elder person is willing to get this device. But from the U.S. side, basically, we still haven't figured it out yet. We're really testing it out through the social media channels by targeting and retargeting, and see which does which gets the most clicks and hits throughout the our campaign and stuff. So.
Yeah, so you're just really getting going on it, and you're showing this to the media. I'm guessing. How's the public relations working for you?
Yes. So for from a public PR standpoint, this is, first of all, it's a new category of things. So it's not like people know this instant translators out there. So it's first is a really create this awareness. Now it's not only us but also other competitors. I think it's also creating this new category of translation device. And with that, from our side is that we just first PR is really, again, is the really the success model that we had in Japan. We'll just use that as on our back end. One of the big differences that demographic is totally different between U.S. and Japan. So really that we're trying to figure things out in the U.S. market.
Very cool, very cool. And do you see a roadmap of a lot of different types of products in this area, or what's the future look like?
Yeah, I think the future. What I think is that this is just a new thing really come up to, and it is really convenient to have as a dedicated device for the translation. A lot of people ask, you could do a lot of things with a cell phone, and I don't deny that. Really, cell phone does it a lot of things. This is more convenient, and also there's a lot of technical differences, but it's really at the end of the day, it really comes down to how convenient that this translation devices are. So, I mean, eventually, how I see it is that as long as that convenience will be incorporated into the cell phone side, then maybe cell phone and those software will take it over, or some other device will take it over this categories. But so far, as long as if we differentiate this translation device as one new, I guess, IoT device and so on, then we should be able to keep it up. So to answer your question, it's really hard to see it.
No, I can see. I see your point, though.
It could be, either cell phone will be, mobile phone will take it over, or we'll just have a separate device and then create the new categories. So
exactly. And since you guys were here first, you could have the kind of the high ground when it comes to the brand.
Right.
Yeah. Very good. Very good. Well, it looks great. I wish you all the success in the world with that, Joji. Thanks very much for spending time with me on the show today. I appreciate it.
All right. Thanks so much.
Very cool. So that's the Pocket Translator. Obviously they did very well at CES with that product, and they even see a kind of a product roadmap for how they could kind of take that. And then the last one, I talked to a drone company that their tagline really kind of caught my eye. So this is Autel Drones. Hey there, it's Scott, and I'm here with Sean Mahoney from Autel Robotics from Washington. And Sean, so your tagline is "Born to Explore." So tell me a little bit about that. What you guys are trying to do with that?
Well, I mean, people will look at that device over there, and you'll say, "What is it?" They'll say, "It's a drone." Not really. It's a source of inspiration. It's a source of exploration. I think the reason you buy a drone is because you're going to go to this epic location and you want to capture some, incredible footage of it. And that's kind of like what Autel Robotics is all about.
You know what I like about your booth, and this isn't true for every booth I've seen, is that it's really clear what you do. It's a good, clean design, and it's just very. It's clear, and your tagline is personal. Like you bring the audience into it, as opposed to, let's just take, for example, this one right here that says the leading edge AI computing platform. I don't know what the hell that's supposed to be, right? And so it's like, so it's really well done.
Yeah.
And not everybody does it really well, so I want to call that out.
Yeah, we've had our ups and downs in that area. We feel like we're kind of on the right path, and I think 2019 is going to be a year of. I think a lot of companies go through transitions. I think we're going through a transformation, and we have content teams that are. They've been to the glaciers in Alaska. They've been out to New Zealand. I personally was just out in the Philippines, as well as in Costa Rica and Guadalupe Island in Mexico, filming the great white sharks and stuff. So that's the kind of stuff that we're doing. We really want to inspire people to, get a drone and get out there and use it.
Very cool. What's it like being in the drone market in 2019?
It's very competitive. Some want to play on price, and just get into the race to the bottom. We're not going to do that. We're very much focused on kind of the the prosumer side of things, but also the upper echelon of the consumer side, because this is a drone that you can fly manually, but it's also a drone that if you're a beginner, that there are some controls and some safeguards built in there to make you look like a pro. So that's kind of cool too. So so I mean, 2019, it's going to be another good year, and the drone awareness and marketing and stuff is only expanding.
Absolutely. Now, what's the marketing mix look like for you guys these days? Are you doing much more like content marketing, a much more traditional advertising, PR? What are you doing?
Content marketing is king. Experience marketing is king. The analogy that we give with our drones is, imagine if Canon announced the new flagship 1DX Mark III and then said, but we have no pictures from it. Yeah. Right? So that's what we're all about, is just kind of getting out there, and we brought on some National Geographic and Discovery Channel professionals as our brand ambassadors and stuff, and so that's the kind of stuff that we were doing. We just did a shoot in Costa Rica with them, and so it's been, and we're going to do some more this year and bring more of those pros on, because the interesting thing is, your opinion is one thing. Put this in the hands of a professional that's been doing aerial photography and cinematography for 15 years and have them come back and say, you know what? I thought this was going to be a joke, but this thing is actually a really good drone. Like, this thing is really cool. Like, having them say that's really cool.
Awesome. And you're doing CES. Obviously, trade shows are a big part. Is the drone market have a lot of like smaller regional shows?
Yeah, there's a ton. There's probably too many, but yeah, there's a lot. And last year we were at pretty much all of them.
So a lot of boots on the ground.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, thanks very much. I've been here with Sean from Autel Robotics, where their tagline is "Born to Explore," and they're at CES. And anyway, this is Scott signing off from May the Best Brand Win. Thanks, Sean. Appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you.
Very, very cool. So, cool company. Great messaging there, and like I said, it was very clear as to what they were about, what they were trying to do. So, sort of in the remaining time, I just want to, it's kind of trade show season, right? And with NAMM next week, and just coming off of CES, and I just want to hit a few things that sort of need to be said out there. Again, kind of like I said in last week's show, the most important thing that you need to have in your booth is not candy to give away, and not a clever stress ball or little gizmo that people can come and get out of your booth. It's a message. And it's a message that is about your audience. Born to, dare to explore, that kind of thing for Autel Robotics, explore your world, that kind of thing, things like that. Something that is personal, that is about them, right? And from the looks of things out there, just not enough companies are spending time at that really basic stage. They and what happens is they get so excited, they have a whiteboard full of crap that they have to do, and then they stop and they don't do the one thing that will make all of that stuff better, which is to really work on the message. Really work on the message. Very, very, very important. I just can't say it enough. I say it all the time on this show. I still go out to trade shows and I see booths and I'm like, I don't know what you do and I don't know why in the world I would care. And that's your job as a marketer. What do we do? Here's why you should care. And maybe you and also just your message should have a little bit of a selection element to it. If you're not for everybody, then that's fine. But make sure that you're clear enough that people know who you're for and why you're there. That kind of thing. As I said last week, I will read it one more time. Is that sometimes marketing folks, they just want to be clever, right? They want to be clever. They want to talk about what solution they have. And then you end up with these sentences and these press releases, and you don't know what is being said. There's no message that's moving from the sender to the receiver. It's just a bunch of crap. It's just a bunch of words that are thrown together in a robust next level solution and then you throw in technical acronyms and jargon phrases and stuff like this, and you end up with this horrible disaster. So here's how you get away from that. Clear beats clever every time. Be clear. Always make the conscious decision to be clear. Very, very, very important. And not enough people do it. They try to be clever, save clever for something else. We're in the job of being clear. Clear is important. In conclusion, what have we learned these last couple of weeks? Well, we learned that marketing means a lot of different things out there. And, whether you're talking pocket translators or do-it-yourself sperm tests, you need to be clear about and make their message all about them, or they are going to walk to the next booth, so to speak. And, I'll be walking my way to the NAMM show next week, gathering more interviews for future shows and letting you talk to some of the people out there in the music business that are setting things on fire. And that's it for me, folks. So until a couple weeks from now, next week's NAMM, I'll be there, but until a couple weeks from now, this has been Scott Robertson for May the Best Brand Win on Intertalk Media. Rock on. You know what's all around you every waking moment of your life? Marketing. You're choking on it. I'm Scott Robertson, and when it comes to strategic PR, branding, and marketing, I've seen it all. And actually, I'm still seeing it because bad marketing never sleeps. Join me each week on May the Best Brand Win, right here on Intertalk Radio, and learn how to make the marketing for your brand unforgettable.
Hi, this is Tim Dolbear from Eclectica Studios. I'm a full-time mixing and recording engineer. I work with Grammy winners, labels, and indie artists, using state-of-the-art digital mixing and restoration tools and the very best in analog gear. Really, though, it's my ability to bring tracks to life and fulfill your vision for your music. This has made me sought after by producers and artists worldwide. So spend your time working on music and not chasing a mix down a rabbit hole. Go to timdolbear.com and check out our free one-song mix offer.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
This is Jackie Bertoni from Jackie's Groove. Come join me weekly on my journey through the music business as I take you behind the velvet rope, interviewing industry notables such as Al DiMeola, Michael McDonald, and Al Jerome, to name but a few. Listen to their stories on being in the studios recording #1 hits and onto the stages throughout the globe. Allow me to be your music historian. You can hear me live every Monday at 2 p.m. and every Wednesday at 12 noon Pacific Standard Time or 24/7 on jackiesgroove.com. Ready to get your groove on?